Welcome. Favorite segment of the day, favorite segment of the year, favorite segment of Titan Tigers. It's 5 stars with your host, Brett Burgin. Listen, this is going to be a very controversial 5 stars. And I know this because so many people are so passionate about these two subjects. And I think there's so much that can go either way. So we'll start it off with a jump. Toughest SEC football place to play. We did the basketball. I got hounded by people like, why haven't you even done the football yet? This is going to be my opinion and my opinion only. So you're going to have to comment and tell me. But we'll start out with number 5. Number 5, Kyle Field, the 12th man. Yeah, they do have the corniest pregame Saturday night call. But that place, when it's rocking, is 120,000 people, whatever it is. And when Menzel was playing there, when they have the thing going, it is a very tough place to play. We saw Alabama got upset there a couple of years ago. Like I truly think when and I'm putting this at the best of the best, not when there's a bad team, but when they're at their best and it is a peak of what it's going to be, who is the best? Kyle Field's my number 5. Number 4 is Bryant-Denny. Bryant-Denny, people would say, would be very high. I'm accounting in the fact that Bryant-Denny's a tough place to play because usually there's a really good team that you're having to face there. I will say the last few times I've went to Bryant-Denny, it's a little bit more classier of a crowd than more of a rowdy type crowd. Not as deafening as what some of these other places are. Neyland Stadium would almost be equivalent to, or maybe people would think would be better than Bryant-Denny now. I just think that it's gone. But when Bryant-Denny really gets rocking, it is a tough place to play. But I would say mostly more for the team than quite the stadium. So number 3 is Jordan-Hare. When they get going in Jordan-Hare, that is where they say dreams go to die. That's the Death Valley. I'm sorry. Death Valley is where dreams go to die. Jordan-Hare is where perfect seasons go to die. And we've seen it so many times. The prayer at Jordan-Hare, the kick 6, Gators number 1 with Rex Grossman, Gators number 1 with Chris Lee. Crazy things happen. Kirby Smart said it. Nick Saban said it. Something is fishy going on. I don't know where they put the field at or whatever it is. But when you play in Jordan-Hare, especially at night, crazy things happen. I mean, LSU has been so much more talented than them sometimes, and they'll win games by 3 points, maybe even that, and lose games when that shouldn't even be a game. So that's why I got Jordan-Hare at number 3. Number 2, it is where dreams go to die, and that's Death Valley. Death Valley at night is by far one of the best venues you ever seen. Those Cajuns, they get rowdy, they get going. I tell people all the time, when you go to an Alabama game, there is a classy section and a party section. When you go to LSU, there's a party section and then like, I'm going to throw my nachos and cheese and pour my drink on you type section. And only reason I don't give Death Valley number 1 spot is that I don't think their day games are as good as their night games. You got to be more consistent during the day and at night, and the only place that does that is the Swamp. When the Gators are on top and the crowd is there is no tougher place. Am I telling you, between 1994 and 1999, they didn't lose a single game at home. That's 5-6 years of football. From Frank Sanders to Sean Alexander. That's how long they went with Spurrier not losing games. Urban never lost games there. If they lost games, it was Brandon Cox and Lee Guest going down there. Was maybe one of the few games they lost. But the Swamp, when the Swamp gets rocking with the humidity, the fans right on top of you, it doesn't matter if it's an afternoon CBS game or a night game. With Tom Petty, the Gator Chomp, there is no other place that's tougher to play than the Swamp, and that'll be my number 1. Number 2, 5-star. This is going to be one of the most controversial 5 stars we ever do. Everybody has their list, but with March Madness and the SEC tournament coming up, I'm doing my 5 best basketball movies. And people are not going to be happy with me. I don't care. This is my list. You comment on, tell me what your list is, but there's so many. We're going to start out with number 5, White Man Can't Jump. I almost base this on how many times I've seen these movies, but Woody Harrelson, Wesley Snipes, that to me is one of the best movies of seeing two people come together, complete opposites, play the game they love. I just love that movie. There's a lot of drama and things that go in the movie that are, it is what it is, but the basketball may be some of the best basketball in that movie. That's my number 5. Number 4, He Got Game. Ray Allen. How many times I probably shouldn't have seen that movie because it was rated R, but I did. But the story of Jesus Shuttlesworth, I think everybody will remember. Everybody wants to see that story of the chosen one, the resurrection, the second coming. Do you remember Dick Vitale saying on there? But the shoes, Denzel being, in it, was such a great movie. You got to experience, what if the number one player in the country, what would his life be? What is his life of somebody who is giving everything, and how do you respond in being in that spotlight? You don't often get the stories of that, and it was really cool to see, Spike Lee do that, and I love that movie. He got game, seen it so many times. I love the father-son scene, battling out with each other. Well, you're supposed to be the next Jordan. You're supposed to. That to me just gets me fired up because it was a great movie. Number 3, Glory Road. The story about the first all-black team playing together. That was such a great movie. Seeing the rise of Western Kentucky. I'm sorry, Texas Western. I'm sorry, Texas Western. And that to me may be the best movie of all these. It's not my top because it's not the one I've seen the most, the one that I enjoy the most. But that movie is such a great movie of the kids overcoming adversity, the coaching, everywhere they go. I just love that movie. It gets me fired up anytime I'm in basketball mood. I love watching that movie. Number 2 is a sleeper for me. Finding Forrester. Not many people may not know about this movie, especially the new generation. Sean Connery, the story of finding this guy who was actually a brilliant student in that, but moving to a school and finding this writer who wrote this book and just it's just such a great movie. I just really enjoyed that. That was one of the first movies I really enjoyed sitting down and watching through. That probably wasn't a movie that you would think, oh, this guy would watch. But that's just such a great movie, and I love that movie. It's one of my top movies of all time, actually. But it can't beat number 1. And number 1 is number 1 because not only did I love this movie, not only is my favorite basketball player in this movie, I know it's corny, but there's so many scenes back to back. I compare it to Sandlot and baseball. But I've shared this movie with my kids. I think I've watched it 100 times. But not just the storyline, not just it coming back with the comeback of the greatest of all time, but Space Jam is the number 1 movie. Because Space Jam is something not only you can watch yourself, but you can share with your kids. And it's just the story of the greatest of all time. And it's a cartoon, I understand that. But the cameos, the coming back, the Monstars, I just love that movie, and I've loved sharing it with my kids, and I've probably seen it combined more than all these other movies combined. So that's why it's got to be my number 1, not Space Jam 2. That is not a good movie at all. Sorry, I'm a LeBron guy too. I just didn't like the movie. But I will give my honorable mentions. The Air Up There with Kevin Bacon when he goes and finds the African player that came back and played college. Great movie. Sixth Man with the Wayans brothers when he pulls up on the rim and falls back and he actually helps the Washington team. And then Above the Rim, another movie. Tupac's in that movie. But that was a really good movie. I know a lot of people are going to say, where's Hoosiers, Brett? I'm just not a Hoosiers guy. It's just too slow for me. There's certain parts I like in Hoosiers, but it's just a long, long movie. Chances are any more I'm not thinking about that you're...
Wouldn't be a sports movie that you just named of any of those kind, but there's one that I think you would really like that you've probably never seen. Got Nick Nolte in it and someone else that's the main guy, but it's called Warrior.
Okay.
And it's about a guy who breaks his back or something in a car accident or something. He was a great gymnastics, the rings dude, and ends up working his way back and bouncing. It's like based off true events and stuff too, but it's very religious and stuff too. But it's a very good movie. You should check it out.
I know some people would probably say too, like.
I mean, you got hardball, but then you're teaching people bad things. If you're a gambler.
That was a baseball movie, though.
Well, true. Yeah. Was this only basketball?
This is only basketball.
Oh, my bad.
Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
Okay, but again, so basketball is a very small portion.
Basketball, people would say that should be in there.
If anything, you could say instead of Uncut Gems, you could say the other one with Adam Sandler, where he teaches the guy.
Hustle that's the newer one. Yeah. So these are newer ones. Some people would say. Air. I like the new Air movie with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. That was good.
So basketball.
Blue Chips. Loving basketball. Coach Carter's one of your favorites. That wasn't in there.
I've got the two that I brought up before. You got the one with the kid from. They're both Disney movies.
Like Mike?
Well, no, it's not Like Mike. It's the one with the basketball at the camps where they play each other. With
yeah.
The other one is the girls' basketball with the worst. Yes, with the worst shot.
That's funny. That's funny. Yep. So, a lot of great movies. There's a lot of good basketball movies. But, people will probably get me for not having Blue Chips or Hoosiers in there. I don't care. Space Jam's the top. Always will be. Here on Titan Tigers.